consent, the quorum be dispensed with.
Without objection.
Madam President, before Congress went out of session 2 weeks ago, President Trump announced that he was declaring a national emergency to redirect funds to the construction of a border wall. It was a lawless act, a gross abuse of power, and an attempt by the President to distract from the fact that he broke his core promise to have Mexico pay for the wall. Let me give a few reasons why the President's emergency is so wrong. First, there's no evidence of an emergency at the border. Illegal border crossings have been declining for 20 years. Just this morning, a group of 58 former senior national security figures, Chuck Hagel, Madeleine Albright, released a statement saying, quote, "Under no plausible assessment of the evidence is there a national emergency today that entitles the President to tap into funds appropriated for other purposes to build a wall at the southern border." And I ask unanimous consent that their full statement be read into the record at this point.
Without
it's
objection.
right here. Even the President himself, who's now declaring an emergency, halfway through his meandering speech proclaiming the emergency, said, quote, "I didn't need to do this, but I'd rather do it, build the wall much faster." If there was ever a statement that says this is not an emergency, that's it. He said he didn't need to do this. So, my colleagues, my dear colleagues, if we're going to let the President, any President, on a whim, declare emergencies simply because he or she can't get their way in the Congress, we have fundamentally changed the building blocks, the strong, proud building blocks that the Founding Fathers put in place. Second, the President's emergency declaration could cannibalize funding from worthy projects all over the country. We don't even know yet which projects he's planning to take the funds from. I'd ask my colleagues to think about that. What important initiatives in your state are on the Trump chopping block? What military project will the President cancel to fund a border wall that Congress rejected? And third, and I made this point a little bit at the beginning, but it bears repeating, far and away most importantly, the President's emergency declaration is a fundamental distortion of our constitutional order. The Constitution gives Congress the power of the purse, not the President. And congressional intent on the border wall is clear. The President's wall has been before Congress several times, and not once has it garnered enough votes to merit consideration. In some cases, it missed Republican votes. The President says, well, it was just the Democrats that blocked it. That's not true. There were Republican votes when the wall was on the floor voting no as well. As Justice Jackson famously observed, great New Yorker Justice Jackson, by the way, from Jamestown, New York, the President's legal authority in the realm of emergencies is at its very weakest when it goes against the expressed will of the Congress. In case the will of the Congress wasn't already clear, soon it will be made so. The obvious remedy to President Trump's outrageous and lawless declaration is for Congress to vote to terminate the state of emergency. The House will vote on such a resolution tomorrow, and the Senate will soon follow suit. I know my friends on the other side of the aisle fashion themselves supporters of the military, defenders of property rights, stewards of the Constitution, as do Democrats. This vote on the resolution to terminate the state of emergency will test our fidelity to those principles. Congress should come together to reject, in a bipartisan fashion. We've come together before in bipartisan ways. If there was ever one that cries out for bipartisan rejection of an overreach of power, this is it. And we should reject this naked power grab, this defacement of our constitutional balance of powers for what it seems is largely political purposes. Now on North Korea.